Hi everyone, it's Amber and I have a really fun video to share today. We're going to do a tutorial here on camera of these adorable covered sticky note pads. These are the Jot sticky notes that you can get at Dollar Tree. And I love these things. I use them at work all the time and I thought let's go ahead and make some Valentine covers for these. Here's the ones that I made, and I will tell you I was so inspired by a channel, Shell Fabian, and I'm going to go ahead and link it below, where she made some covers for I think some Halloween or fall ones. So I was very inspired by her video, but we are going to go ahead and do a tutorial here on my channel, and I'm just showing you the ones that I've already created. Here's the first one, and it's so simple, you guys. It just takes cardstock, pattern paper, and of course one of these really chunky sticky pads from the Dollar Tree. So as you can see, I'm just showing you the ones I made. I really love this. The paper I used for the two that you see here is the Hello Sweetheart collection by Cartabella. And we're actually going to use a different paper collection for the one we're going to make on camera, but I matted this one on the inside so I could write a message if I gave that to somebody. But I just think these are so cute and so easy to make. And I'm obsessed now with making them, and I want to go to the Dollar Tree and get like every color in these little notepads. But anyways, here's the paper I used, the Hello Sweetheart by Cartabella. And this paper is so cute. So I'm going to go ahead and show you also the cardstock that I use for the base. I use this 110-pound cardstock from Michaels, and that's just a tip to make these bases. I mean, you can use any cardstock you have, but the sturdier, the better. So that's just a little tip for you. So you know what? Let's go ahead and get started on this really easy tutorial. So first I'm kind of showing you here what you're going to need. So you're going to need a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and well, it doesn't have to be 8.5 by 11. I'm going to show you the dimensions. So whatever you have, you're going to need a sticky note pad, a ruler, some double-sided tape, a scoreboard, and of course some pattern paper, and I'm using that one there from Hobby Lobby. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing you're going to do is you're going to cut a piece of sturdy cardstock, and you're going to cut it at 6 7/8 by 5 1/8. So I'm just taking my paper trimmer and I'm putting my 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock in and cutting it down, like I said, to 6 7/8 by 5 1/8. And this is going to be the base of your cover. So the next thing I did is I took the rest of the scrap of my cardstock over there, and I measured. I'm going to measure first this notepad, and the cover, you know, the packaging says it's 3 by 5, but I know the measurements can be a little bit off. So actually this ended up being 2 7/8 by 5. I believe by exactly 5. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and cut this paper down to. 2 7/8 by 5, and I'm going to show you why I'm going to make a piece of paper for that size in just a second, because it's going to be more sturdy and it's going to stay in your cover a lot easier if you do this. Okay, so now we've got our two pieces of cardstock that we just cut at 6 7/8 by 5 1/8 and 2 7/8 by 5. And next thing we're going to do is grab our scoreboard. So take your 6 7/8 by 5 1/8 piece and put it on the 6 7/8 side down in your scoreboard, and you are going to score at 3 1/8. So that's just the hash mark right after the 3-inch mark. So 3 1/8 by 3 3/4. So here I am scoring at 3 1/8, and then again at 3 3/4. So now we don't need our scoreboard anymore. We've got our score lines. So the next thing we're going to do is grab your bone folder and just kind of crease down your score lines. So this is, again, going to be the base of your cover, and it's seriously as simple as that. So can you see it coming together? How easy is this? So now it's time to decorate. And for the decoration, for the, designing the cover, I'm going to use the Love paper pad that I got at Hobby Lobby. And so for this, I'm just going to give you the dimension of the first matte piece. And that is going to be 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. And that's going to be your first pattern piece. And you're just going to go ahead and glue that down to your cover. Now, the rest of the decorations are going to kind of be up to you, the way you decorate the front. So for mine, I went to my paper pad and I chose this cute little Love is in the Air cutout. And I just cut paper down to where I thought it looked good. I wanted a 3/4 inch border so that lit paper would show up and I wasn't covering too much of it. So actually I think I did a 1/2 inch border. So I cut this piece here that you're seeing me glue down. I cut that down to 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. And the piece there that I just pointed to is going to be like my center of my front cover. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this 2 1/4 by 4 1/4 piece down, and it's also pattern paper. But like I said, you saw the two that I made. They were very different the way I decorated the front. So this is just basically up to you how you want it to look. You can do as many layers, mats, textures, dimension as you want. This is totally up to you. So here's the first one, and see how I just did a simple mat around that cutout. And then on this one, I did several layers. I mean, I did way more layers on this one, and they're both adorable. So it's really up to you how you want to do it. I thought for this one that these and this amount of layers was perfect, and I went ahead and matted this piece on black cardstock because it just brings it out more and it makes it show up so much better and it looks so much nicer. So it's just as easy as that, and I think this makes an adorable front cover for your notepad cover. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere this down. And also matting on cardstock gives a little bit of dimension, but you can also use, foam tape or those foam squares that you can get in the craft store. So there's my front cover all done, and I think that's super adorable. And I love that you can see each of the layers and it's very clean and simple. So now let's get into getting our notepad in there. What you're going to do first is, see this white page? I go ahead and peel that off because that is the only page that really doesn't stick that well. The rest of the pages are super sticky. They stick really well. So I'm going to take the base that we made, remember, the 2 7/8 by 5, and I'm going to give a generous amount of adhesive on this base, and we're going to go ahead and glue it down to the notepad and kind of replace that white sheet with a more sturdy piece. And this will make it stay better in the cover and it won't pop out or won't, kind of slide out. So that's why I do this step. And to glue the actual notepad in, I use double-sided sticky tape, and use a strong adhesive for this. If you don't have this, your ATG gun is fine, but make sure that if you are making these, for craft fairs or gifts, that you go ahead and find a really strong double-sided sticky tape for this and be very generous with it. So for me, I'm using score tape, and I love score tape because you can rip it right off. You don't need scissors. The red tacky sticky tape, the double-sided tape that you can get like at Michael's and Hobby Lobby, that's really good for this too because it's super strong. I'm going to go ahead and burnish these down and peel off the backing so we can get this put down in our cover. So be careful for this part. What you're going to do is make sure that when you glue it down that you are not going over that score line because you do not want to obstruct the fold. So I always like to take my non-tape side and just kind of measure it so I can see, the border around so I can get an idea, and then go ahead and glue that baby down. And it's so easy. Just make sure you don't obstruct the score line, and there you go. Just press it down, make sure it's on there really nice, And I like to turn it over and kind of take my bone folder and just make sure the tape is really burnished onto the back of the cover. And there we have it, you guys. Our little notepad is all done. Wasn't that easy? I want to make 1,000,000 of these. Like, I'm totally in craft fair mode right now, and I'm not even doing a craft fair. I just want to make a bunch of these for Christmas, Easter, Valentine's. I just think they're so cute. So now I want to go back to the Dollar Tree and see what other colors they have. And I just think these are so fun to make. So there's the 3 that I've made, 3 little Valentine notepads to give out to some of my pen pals, and I just cannot wait. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't been already subscribed. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. I've got some more Valentine projects coming up, and I hope you'll join me for those. Thanks again. Bye, everyone.